See, it's a common temptation for startups to defer compliance because it always feels like this is not for me. You want to prioritize your speed, you want to prioritize your MVP shipment, and the thinking is we'll deal with SOC 2, ISO, GDPR when we have to. But this later often translates to a crisis. So, a high value enterprise prospect suddenly requires a SOC 2 report you can't produce, or a data handling issue brings GDPR scrutiny. These aren't just operational hiccups, they are deal breakers, and that can cost you significant revenue and market opportunity. And the thing is, you cannot retrofit compliances either. You'll have to actually re-architect, you might have to re-engineer, refactor, etc. So for SOC 2, you're looking at months of dedicated engineering cycles if you have not done it from day zero. And it's not just paperwork. It's not just some checklist that you're talking about. You have to implement specific technical controls. Like, for example, you have to configure fine-grained IAM policies. You have to set up auditable logging across all microservices. You have to ensure encryption for data at rest in your S3 buckets, RDS instances, or whatever you're using, and in transit using TLS. Then there's vulnerability management, incident response protocols, and proving all of these to the auditors. The effort to re-architect an existing non-compliant system can be 3 to 5 times greater than building with compliance in mind from the outset. And I'm not even talking about the risk of service disruption during remediation. So that later will never happen. It will happen at the worst time possible, and then you will just regret. ZobDev addresses this by embedding compliance from day one. It ensures that you get a production ready infrastructure with pre-configured security groups, network policies, IAM roles, completely aligned with best practices like least privilege, for instance. Our platform facilitates automated log aggregation, offers templates that map directly to SOC 2 or HIPAA controls or even ISO controls. For example, ZobDev can ensure that data residency requirements for GDPR are met by default in your cluster configurations. And this means startups can ship fast on a compliant foundation, avoiding the painful and expensive compliance scramble later, and being enterprise ready much sooner. See, honestly, everybody's strapped for time and budget. But practically, it starts with the basics, but with an eye on automation. Manually managing encryption keys, access control lists for every developer, and individual audit logs for each microservice becomes unscalable very, very quickly. And the cost here isn't just tools, but the immense engineering hours spent on repetitive, error prone tasks instead of product innovation. It's something that you need to do at a world class level, but it's an undifferentiated heavy lifting that you need to do today. Good news is that modern tools, when orchestrated correctly, can automate a lot of this. ZobDev, for example, integrates all the basics. Encryption, we facilitate encryption at rest for managed data stores and guide in-transit encryption via ingress controllers with TLS. Access controls, we leverage Kubernetes' own RBAC and help integrate with your identity provider for centralized IAM. So rather than managing different user accounts across different services, you are having everything in one single place. Audits can be automated via tooling. So ZobDev provides built-in observability with logging via Loki and metrics via Prometheus. We also support Grafana, Mimir, Tempo, etc. So these data forms the basis for automated checks. For example, we can set up alerts for when critical security configurations deviate from the baseline. Then you need ISE and pre-built templates. So ZobDev provides pre-built templates for things like secure cluster configurations and data encryption policies. This is essentially like a compliance architect built into your CI/CD pipeline. So you don't need a large dedicated compliance team from day one if your platform handles much of the heavy lifting, like ZobDev for instance. The effort shifts from manual implementation to oversight and utilizing the platform's own capabilities. ZobDev gives you all of this controls, capabilities, and compliances from day zero. Don't ask me this. But in one of my previous startups, we fell into that exact, we will figure out SOC 2 later trap. So we were moving fast, we were building features, then a massive enterprise deal, and it was a game changer for us. Could have helped us in fundraising, that would have funded everything for us. It hinged on us having a SOC 2 Nightly report. We didn't. The scramble to achieve it reactively was incredibly painful. It delayed the deal by nearly 6 months and pulled half our engineering team off the product work to focus solely on remediation and documentation. The direct cost of consultants and the audit was significant, but the opportunity cost of delayed revenue and sidetracked product development was even greater. Plus, the fact that a lot of engineers who were hating redoing work. I think the one thing that engineers hate the most is reworking, and that's what was happening. So with ZobDev, we have built it so no startup has to go through that. We aim to make the technical rails for compliance inherent in the platform. This means you can focus on your growth and product, knowing that the foundational compliance pieces are being handled correctly. And it can scale with you. You're small, keep things small. As you scale, you don't have to rewire, redo anything. And this prevents that massive enterprise deal from becoming a compliance crisis.